If you've logged into Guild Wars 2 within the past 9 years, you may have experienced some of the expansions that are already live within the game, such as Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, or End of Dragons. Not only were we able to explore brand new areas of the game with each of the expansions, but players were also able to utilize new features to enjoy the game in many different aspects. Heart of Thorns gave us methods to traverse through the dense jungle by jumping high into the sky from mushrooms and saving us all from fall damage by unlocking the gliding mastery. Path of Fire was the birth to a handful of new mounts that each had their tailored abilities to help players navigate around the Crystal Desert. And with the most recent expansion, End of Dragons, players were able to become captain of their very own skiff to sail through Cantha, catch many different assortments of fish, adopt their very own R2-D2 droid-like companion, and also obtain the very first combat mount, the Siege Turtle. But now that ArenaNet has confirmed that they're working on this 4th expansion, I thought to myself, what kind of features would I like to see within Guild Wars 2? One of the biggest features I believe ArenaNet could add is if they take skiffs and think bigger. Let's get access to big ships to sail the seas. I'm talking sloops, galleons, frigates. This will allow for players to navigate the open waters. They'll be able to stop in between at islands and explore, and fight one another on the seas by shooting cannons at each other and swinging over to each other's boats to attack and cause damage to the opponent's vessel. Games like Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker is so much fun because you are able to sail from island to island. One of my favorite parts of Pirates of the Caribbean Online is the ship battles and how you're able to shout out commands to other players on board to make sure the cannons fire at the right moment. And if we go ahead and take a look at the in-game map currently, there's a ton of water for players to be able to explore and sail around in. And there are various different islands for us to sail around on and inhabit, like the Isle of Istan right here. We also have this sea turtle looking thing right here. The battle isles are right here near Cantha. That's something we can explore. And also there's this random island on the west side of the map right here. This could be an entire whole map. There's so much potential content on these open waters, and I think allowing players to be able to sail around and fight each other on these open waters where there's no territory, there's no teams, it's just like every man for himself, that would be really cool to see within the game. Currently in-game, if you have a guild hall, it's super expensive to decorate. Not to mention, other players can come around and just remove your decorations within the guild. That can all change with player housing. I'd love to be able to pick where you can have your house or apartment within the game, such as Rata, Divinity's Reach, or any of the other in-game cities. Once you're able to afford your house, you can customize your rooms with different furniture and decorations you find while traveling the world. It would be great to have a bookshelf where players can put the books that they find in-game all into one place. Players would be able to show off their accomplishments by having statues show off which bosses or raid wings they were successfully beat. And perhaps a nice companion such as a cat or a dog could be there to welcome you every time you get back from an adventure. I'd love to also be able to visit other players' houses in order to challenge them in a 1v1 in their backyard or any area within their house. So let's just get it out there. I think it's time that Guild Wars 2 has a brand new race for players to enjoy. End of Dragons showed us that ArenaNet has many different models and faces for the Tengu, so it's quite obvious with the resources that they have, ArenaNet would probably be adding the Tengu as a new race. The Tengu starting map can count as one of the brand new maps for the expansion, and I believe that if ArenaNet gave everyone brand new character slots, as well as being able to gain specific weapon skins, titles, or more by only playing as a Tengu, that can give players incentive to make a brand new character as a Tengu and play with other newbies as they join the game. Now, PvE has gotten more content than any of these other game modes, and ArenaNet has stated that both World vs. World and PvP are important columns of gameplay within the game. Personally, I'd love to see a new Battlegrounds within World vs. World, even if they replicate Eternal Battlegrounds and just add some water so that way players can sail around on their ships and do combat with each other. It'd also be really cool if that on this new map that players can hop on their Siege Turtle. I think this could bring exciting new experiences for the World vs. World community. As for PvP, I'd be happy to see 2 brand new maps added to the game. Of course, with both of these game modes, they need incentives to keep players engaged. Perhaps having exclusive armor and weapon skins that can only be achieved by playing these game modes would be a nice addition to see. So as for elite specializations, I don't actually believe they should be in this 4th expansion.
You what?
I think ArenaNet would struggle a bit to find good new specializations for the 9 professions in-game and not stumble into familiar specializations that are already created. Instead, why not add new weapons to the game, one for each armor type, and allow it to be utilized for any of the specializations the players want to play with. For example, there is already enemies or NPCs running around with cannons on their shoulders. It would be great to see the cannon weapon get added to the medium armor profession classes. The niche of being able to run around as a pirate can finally be achieved in-game. Halberds would be a nice addition for the heavy armor professions. This can give way to slower attack styles that also have broader range to hit targets with. With a little bit of defensive skills sprinkled in there to block enemy attacks, I think it could be a great new weapon type for the game. Finally, for light armor professions, I think adding a spellbook as an offhand weapon could allow for interesting skills, such as casting spells to buff allies or curses to slow down enemies. Not to mention, there could be some really cool spellbook skins they could add to the gem store to make some extra cash. Be sure to let me know in the comments section down below what features or gameplay elements you'd like to see within the 4th expansion of Guild Wars 2. Thanks so much for watching another YouTube video, and as always, stay hydrated, gamers.